Previously on Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. A barrel was illuminated by work lights near the center of the opening. The air quickly grew stagnant as they approached it. Tomei took a step and suddenly felt something was off. Before she had time to think, the shadow of something in the barrel caught her eye, and she went to investigate. She grabbed her flashlight and pointed it inside. Upon seeing what was inside, Tomei's chest tightened in pain. She quietly meditated and said a prayer for the recently deceased.
ひどいもんです。頭のてっぺんからつま先まで真っ黒焦げですよ。
確かに着衣の有無もこれじゃほとんどわかりませんね。
一応体型から女性じゃないかとの見立てですがね。年齢は見ての通り不明です。まあ詳しいことは司法解剖してみないと判断できませんが。
もしあれが殺人だとしたら、犯人はどういう意図だったんだろう。
Burning the victim, or burning a corpse deep in the mountains. They seemed like plausible scenarios at first glance, but there was actually a major contradiction. The main advantage of committing a crime deep in the mountains was the length of time until discovery. Prolonging the time until the crime was discovered would have given the culprit that much more time to flee. It would have made the police investigation more difficult as well. However, in this case, the criminal announced the crime by lighting the suspicious fire that drew the police to the scene. So why did they commit murder so deep in the mountains? And why did they leave the corpse there like that?
改めて、はじめまして。私は牧村珠子。このクラスの学級委員長をやっています。よろしくね、君吉さん。
あ、はい。こちらこそよろしくお願いします。で、私は。
あ、この子は1分以内に忘れていい。見かけは変だけど、中身もやっぱり変だから。
But it's because she's strange that is why she's so memorable. How can I forget such a person?
おいこら、友達に向かってそりゃどういう了見だ。
友達？誰が？
もう許さ。
Since that day, the two of them have been my best friends, and they taught me all about the city. Excellent tips like how to wear my school uniform, and how to apply colored lipstick, orange shampoo, how to make friends, and more. They taught me a lot I didn't know about how to live this life. And the three of us would go on what we called extracurricular lessons, going to a busy place like the front of the station, going shopping, watching movies, chatting over fast food. I wasn't good with crowds, but everything felt fresh, and it was fun. This urban life was full of anxiety, but thanks to my two friends, I was gradually growing familiar with it, and beginning to enjoy it. Grandma dragged me to the living room, in front of the shrine. Right beside me, Grandma politely clasped her hands together and offered a wholehearted prayer. I followed suit and muttered words like magic spells. Whenever Urashiro-sama was brought up, Grandma started to act like a different person. She often gratefully told us, Urashiro was always watching. But on the other hand, Grandma also seemed afraid of being constantly watched. Urashiro-sama is the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, the village where Grandma was born. But I can't pray the way Grandma does. Grandma told me that Mom and Dad were reunited thanks to the blessing of Urashiro-sama, who is also a god of marriage. But I heard from Mom that they fell in love in college. And Mom was always unhappy with Grandma's obsession with Urashiro-sama. Akira Todo-kun. Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan told me he was talented enough to win a big competition with professional artists, and he entered the school as a scholarship student. The competition happened before I transferred here, so I don't know how much more than that. It was a big fuss around the whole school, with reporters pushing for interviews. And surprisingly, Akira-kun was also a childhood friend of Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan. So after I became friends with the two of them, they later introduced me to him. I was able to see his work with my own hands. It was all really shocking.
私、全然何も取り柄がないから偉そうなこと言えないけど、本当にこの絵、とても素敵だと思う。こんなに花とか草木が綺麗だなんて私、今まで思ったことがなかった。
At that moment, I saw the face that Kira-kun was making.
ありがとう。
He was blushing a little red, but he was smiling happily, looking straight at me. Yeah, even now I could remember it clearly. Because at that moment, I realized I like Akira Tondo-kun. And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. So, we're here. Let's do this. I expect a clean bill of health.
病院に着いたよ。
I like how the background noise just started right after Natsumi responds. I must have dozed off along the way. I woke up to Chisato-chan gently shaking my shoulders side to side. I sleepily looked out the window while rubbing my eyes. A large white building stood out among the cityscape, towering against the blue sky. Saiki Hospital is one of the leading general hospitals in the prefecture, and Chisato-chan's father works there as the director. The light turned red, and the car gently stopped in the intersection before the hospital. The crosswalk in front of us was full of pedestrians walking about.
どう？ちょっとは気分良くなった？ごめんね。話の途中で寝ちゃって。いいって気にしないの。乗った時から夏美意識が朦朧って感じだったしね。
You didn't try to cop a feel while she was unconscious, did you?
そこまでひどくないと思うけど。
I tried to object, but I was not very confident. My memory was vague, but I felt like Chisato-chan was talking passionately about popular modern artists, such as... But I wasn't very interested in music. Oh, the musical kind. I thought you meant the painting on a canvas or the sculpting kind. So I quickly grew tired and dozed off.
しかしまあ、私のトークの腕もまだまだだね。聞き手の眠気さえも吹き飛ばして耳を傾けさせるくらいでなければ真の達人とは言えないな。さとちゃん、何を目指す気なの？
A public speaker?
とりあえず政治家でどう？
Well, I guess that is kind of what a politician does. Public speaking.
どうだって言われても。
Though she's seeking approval, I was stumped for a reply. I'll keep it a secret, but I expected her to say comedian. Either way, I don't think that's a very easy profession.
にしても夏美、かわいい寝顔だったよ。そんなに寝心地よかったのなら、もう一度学校まで往復する？もうからかわないでよ。
My cheeks were swelling and turning red in response to Chisato-chan's teasing. But honestly, Chisato-chan's private car was exceptionally comfortable. I could hardly feel any bumps on the road, and I was enveloped in drowsiness in the blink of an eye. Besides, the driver, Yamashina-san was quite the professional. He was very good at turning and stopping. I don't think that my father's driving is bad, but the feel here is clearly different from the times I've gone out in the family car, so there must be a difference in skill. In the meantime, the traffic light turned green, and the car quietly started up. Shortly thereafter, we passed through the main gate of the hospital and rode through a roundabout toward the passenger loading area.
あ、通用口って裏手だっけ？そっちに回った方がいい？
いいよ。入り口のそばに業務用のエレベーターがあるから。
そうだっけ？
千里ちゃん、お父さんの病院でしょ？
あ、山下さん、ここで止めて。
かしこまりました。
Yamashina-san answered with a polite tone and stopped the car in the shaded awning in front of the building. Chisato-chan and I thanked the driver, then we exited out the left and right doors. Yep, it's a clinic. The summer sun was shining brightly on the ground, and the plants were alive with a green radiance. The cicadas were crying aloud all around us, and the heat enveloped my skin with sweat in the blink of an eye. Now that you mention it, you're right. That is the cicada. The bastards have followed me all the way into this part of the world.
やっぱ外の空気はいいね。
Well, then again, I guess it's not that far from Hinamizawa, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
おう、我が愛しき地上の世界よ。
Your ideal world is a place filled with rubbing alcohol, sterile whites, grays, and... Oh, man. You are an interesting gal. Hospital world, not my world.
オーバーだよ、千里ちゃん。
Looking at my watch, it's been a little over 20 minutes since we left school. I know I'm not really one to talk since I spent most of that asleep, but I don't think it's worth acting like you just got out of prison.
いや、私ってさ、どうも車ってのが性に合わなくって。
Does a horse-drawn carriage suit your nature instead?
密閉された空間でじっとしているのが苦手なんだよね。
そうだね。千里ちゃんはどちらかって言えば肉体派だもん。
おいおい、せめて行動派と言ってちょうだいな。あ、時間はどう？
まだ余裕たっぷり。乗せてくれてありがとね。すごく助かっちゃった。
I still have nearly 30 minutes before my scheduled start time. I'm always arriving at the last moment when I take the train here. This is a huge difference.
できれば毎週送ってあげられたらいいんだけどね。もともとお父さんの車だから週末は出払ってることが多くてさ。
Okay, now what would you like in exchange?
時々でも嬉しいよ。私って電車苦手だから。
After I said that, I shrugged my shoulders and stuck out my tongue. More specifically, I didn't like the huge crowds in the city. Now, don't say that. You're gonna hurt the crowd's feelings. There are a lot of people who have no regard for their surroundings. They just point their heads toward their destination and walk forward. My home station is always overflowing with people like that. On the stairs, in the train. The station is full of tumultuous noise while I exit through the automated ticket gate, and the crossroad, and the entertainment district. Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan have spent their entire lives in this. I'm sure they wouldn't understand. But I was finally seeing the image of the city I had longed for. And rather than embracing joy and hope, I froze with confusion. Of course, when I'm with Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan, we have fun walking around the shops, rambling on and telling stories. Yet as soon as I left alone to deal with the daily routine, I'm trapped by the illusion of being thrown into another world. Sometimes I feel a painful anxiety in my chest. And walking around the crowded streets alone, it's pretty scary. Nobody looks at me. It's a cold, lifeless urban space that does not speak to me. I feel like I've become a foreigner who doesn't understand the native language. I'm suffering from a lonely, out-of-place feeling. I wonder when this feeling of discomfort will go away. Will I really be able to get used to the city?
夏美？
ごめん。
Chisato-chan noticed that my face was clouded, so I moved my hands to hide it. It's no good. To make my friends unnecessarily worried would be admitting I'm unqualified as a city child. No shame in admitting that. I'm not a huge city fan myself.
電車に乗ってて何かあったの？夏美。悩みがあるなら相談に乗るけど。
The city made its existence more apparent to me and I don't like it. That's what happened.
そうじゃなくて。私、自動改札機がまだうまく通り抜けられないから、この前も切符を入れたのに途中で止められちゃって、苦手意識があるっていうか。
You gotta wait a second for it to process.
ああ、なるほど。そういや、あの時夏美ってば真っ赤な顔で半べそかいてたもんね。
I won't lie. If you were to cry over something like that, I would seriously pity you.
ベソなんて書いてないよ。
いや、少なくとも涙目だった。助けて、千里ちゃん、たまこちゃんってな。
Her uneasy expression from a minute ago had cleared up, and Chisato-chan was laughing pleasantly. Even though it's a weird conversation, the way we get there is always good. I'm relieved to have joined this circle of friends.
千里。
あ、
Suddenly, at that moment, I saw an elderly man walking toward us wearing a refined, expensive suit. While tilting my head, I wondered if Chisato-chan also noticed him there.
父さん、早かったね。今終わったの？
今終わったのじゃないぞ。なんだ今の男みたいな笑い方は。もう少し年頃の女の子らしく振る舞えんのか？
That man with amazing features lightly tapped Chisato-chan on the head. It shouldn't have hurt that much, but Chisato-chan reacted to the hit by exaggeratedly falling and glaring at him begrudgingly.
何すんのさ。暴力反対、セクハラ。
I didn't get anything sexual out of that interaction, but I mean, I don't know your dad, so... Yeah.
都合のいい時だけ女性の権利を振りかざすんじゃない。権利と義務は表裏一体だと前から言ってるだろう。
そりゃ無理だよ。だって私、父さんの娘だもん。
Nah, I think you're the one that's being unreasonable.
使えるものは親でも使えってね。それに、子は親の背中を見て育つなんてありがたい言葉もあるんだよ。
ほら、人聞きの悪いことを。少なくとも私はそんな育て方をした覚えはないと思うぞ。
You think? Well, it's yes or no, man. Come on.
だったらなんで目をそらすマイファーザー。
The exchange had me feeling nervous, so it just burst out. This gentleman liked good sense. Chisato-chan and her father spoke and behaved so similarly. This girl and this parent, they're so backwards. Well, hey, when you got two backwards, two backwards makes a forward. I don't think that sounded like it made more sense in my head, but when I said it out loud, not so much. Ignore me.
君は？
私、君吉夏美です。千里ちゃんのクラスメートです。
ああ、君が夏美ちゃんか。娘から聞いているよ。はじめまして、千里の父です。
Does she by any chance tell you about how she likes to grope me without my consent?
千里がお世話になっています。
あ、いえ、そんな。
違うっての。私がお世話してるの。
Well, you try anyway.
夏美は私の可愛いペットなんだからね。
Woof woof.
ペットって違う。ふに
She suddenly squeezed me, and my face turned red in embarrassment. Chisato-chan! I know this is normal for you, but can't you take the location situation into consideration? I will say, though, very bold of you. I almost said bald, but yeah, very bold of you, right in front of your old man.
やれやれ。可愛いものを見るとすぐこれだ。
Ah, I see. So you like to grope cute things, huh?
学校でもそんな感じなのか？
まあね、愛情表現ってやつよ。お父さんが欲しがってもあげないからね。
Well, thinking about it now, I guess it is technically a step up from being taken home without your consent.
ほう、飼っている熱帯魚の世話すらまともにできなかったお前がな。
Those poor fish. Are they saying I'm the same as a guppy? Wait, stop looking so amused and help me, Chisato's father! Then I looked at Chisato's father's wristwatch, and I realized I had 10 minutes left. Still trapped in Chisato-chan's hug, I continued wriggling like a fish. AKA,
それじゃあ夏美、またね。
AKA, I'm gonna resemble that remark. I glared at Chisato-chan while fixing my hair and straightening my collar. Then she rolled down the back seat window to smile and wave at me. These people are fun to be around, but I wish they understood how awkward it is for me to have the gazes of curious bystanders sticking in my back. You get used to it. Hospital visitors, nurses, even security guards could look over and see us shouting and being overly affectionate.
夏美があんまり可愛いからじいちゃんついつい暴走しちまったい。許してちょんまげ。
なんか、可愛いって言葉を全ての免罪符にされている気がするんだけど。
Depends on who you ask.
可愛いって言われて嬉しくない？私は結構本気で思ってるんだけどな。
知らない。
I couldn't help but sigh while turning away. Even if Chisato-chan honestly meant that as a compliment, the word cute tripped me up. If any offense could be forgiven with that word, then I don't think all those evil characters in historical dramas would be hated so much by women.
あ、そういや夏美、言い忘れてた。来週から進路面談だけど、ちゃんと覚えてる？
Oh boy! Interviews!
覚えてるけど、それが？
I didn't know what she meant by that, so I stared vacantly with my eyes wide open. When she noticed my reaction, Chisato-chan began muttering with a bitter smile.
たまこが心配してたからね。夏美の前の学校はどうだったのかは知らないけど、うちって結構この6月が重要な時期なんだよ。
Basically right around the time when the Japanese public school system wants to inquire about all your future educational plans. Because they got take into account where all the worker bees are gonna go as they graduate. They're very studious about that, I hear.
来年のクラス分けにも関係してくるし、夏休みの補習もそれで決まったりするからさ。知ってた？
そうなの？
I heard something completely unexpected, and it left me dumbfounded.
ありゃあ、やっぱたまこの心配してた通りみたいだね。言っとくけど、 変な回答すると夏休みの半分は確実に補習になるよ。
Well, shit, I guess I better start practicing in front of a mirror and get some pen and paper ready.
大学の説明会とかも強制的に参加させられるし、嫌でしょそれ。
そんなの嫌だよ。
We called it career counseling at my old school. I transferred here before I had my private meeting with the teacher, so I never learned much about it. But I thought they just asked you questions about what you want to be in the future and whatnot. So I didn't think it was such a big deal here. However, my future was uncertain. I don't think they'll like that too much. I didn't have any school aspirations, or any idea where my career might go. They definitely will not like that too much. Students normally go through prep courses and preliminary exams, but I haven't done any of that.
どうしよう、私。
Become a 5-star chef.
やれやれ。
Sensing my bewilderment, Chisato-chan suddenly donned a serious expression, pulled out a notebook, and started to flip through it. She said something to her father sitting beside her, then turned back to me and began to speak. Oh, he's still here? I thought he left.
それじゃあさ、夏美、明日ちょっと時間ある？
明日？多分大丈夫だけど、どうして？
学校のすぐ近くに図書館あるの知ってるよね。そこで集まって作戦会議しよう。夏美は出席番号が前の方だから、多分来週頭には回ってくるよ。その前に早めに準備ってことで、ね。
How generous of you to offer. I think I'll take you up on it.
いいの？
もち。あ、たまこにも連絡しておくからさ。あの子、仮にも委員長だから、進学のことにも詳しいし、きっと力になってくれるよ。
Well, I certainly would trust her. I would certainly trust her more in this situation than you. No offense to you, of course.
でも、せっかくの日曜日なのに、私のせいで。
それくらい平気だって。その代わり、終わった後はアイスでもおごってもらうからね。
If all you want is an ice cream, I say I'm getting off easy. So why not? Chisato-chan said that with an impish smile. I felt so guilty at how much trouble my lack of preparation was causing. Without the advice of my friends, I struggled to answer their questions, no matter what they asked. I will say though, if you ask for coffee-flavored ice cream, I will look at you weird. Just warning you. That would only make the teacher's impression even worse. So I decided to take Chisato-chan up on her gracious offer.
ごめんね、千里ちゃん。たまこちゃんにも悪いけど、お願いしてもいい？
Get her an ice cream.
オッケー。また夜に電話するよ。それじゃ、バイト、頑張ってね。
The engine in Chisato-chan's car made a light roar before it took off beyond the hospital's gate. When the car turned right, Chisato-chan was waving her hand at me, so I turned and waved back. I was left alone lowering my raised hand when I broke out into another sigh. It wasn't the exhausted one from before. It was heavier, and my depression was mixed in. My life after school. It wasn't like I'd been completely unaware of that thought before this moment. But I had a hard enough time just keeping up with the flow this past year without getting left behind, so I didn't even have an opportunity to consider career options. Mom would most certainly encourage me to pursue higher education. Mom and Dad have mentioned in the past that they have encountered difficulties at work thanks to the obscure college they attended, so they would want me to go to a decent college. And I even realized that was the choice they would be happiest with. You know, I think I'm going to lower the master volume just a smidge. Oh wait, that's right, this thing doesn't have a master volume. But honestly, there wasn't anything in particular I wanted to do. And I hadn't even thought about accumulating an educational background. And of course, my capabilities were completely lacking, because I wasn't in the right environment until now. I was playing happily with my old friends. Test results were like competing in a game, winning or losing by making simple scoring plays. Everyone had their own strengths and weaknesses. Nah, you just gotta take a shit ton of notes and memorize stuff. Since I was surrounded by people roughly at my level, it was nice not having a sense of superiority or inferiority. Perfectly average. That's how it was for me in Okinomiya, being compared to similar kids around my age. But I'm sure they won't be as forgiving here in the city. I won't stay in a world free from jealousy and hostility. I'll become worried about all the eyes surrounding me. No. Actually, that's already happened. Maybe a day will come when I'll worry about Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan too. If that happens, could we remain friends like we are now? Suddenly, a sound resembling a school chime came from the roof of the hospital. It announced that checkup times at the Saiki Hospital had ended, and that was an important signal for me.
いけない。遅れちゃう。
I cleared my mind and headed into the hospital. Then I approached the staff elevator right beside the entrance and pushed the elevator button. There is a care and welfare center for the elderly right next to Saiki Hospital. The people there are undergoing treatment and rehabilitation in a facility with state-of-the-art equipment, so that they will be able to live at home normally. In addition to doctors and nurses, the center has people working in supplementary roles who specialize in nursing care. Since they are not officially qualified in Japan yet, I've heard various names for them, but my preliminary course here taught us to call them caregivers. And before spring break, Chisato-chan was able to get me a part-time job here working as a caregiver.
すみません。遅くなりました。
I rushed into the locker room and changed my clothes in a hurry, then walked into the caregiver's waiting room, slightly out of breath. Of course, this was a proper medical institution, so I couldn't run around, but I was sweating on my forehead from the tension of arriving just barely on time.
あらあら、ご苦労様。全然遅くなんてないわよ。時間ぴったりだから。
An older caregiver said that while smiling and pointing at the clock on the wall. That was certainly true, but one of the duties of my part-time job was boiling tea for everyone else who were finally going on break. I was told that it wasn't an obligation, but because of my limited abilities, I felt like I was neglecting the work I was given, and that was inexcusable.
夏美ちゃんは学生なんだし、それにここまで遠いんでしょ？だから少しくらいは遅れても大丈夫よ。
ありがとうございます、山瀬さん。でも、
あ、そうだ。夏美ちゃん？
This person who could read my mind, the leader of the caregivers, the director Yamase-san, recalled something while clapping her hands. And with a gentle smile, she picked up the file placed on the table, then turned toward me.
ごめんなさいね。来て早々で申し訳ないんだけど、もうすぐ3時のおやつの時間だから配膳を手伝ってくれるかしら。今日は常勤の人が休養でいないから。
あ、はい。
I nodded enthusiastically. This woman was a little older than my mom. Since I started working here, Yamase-san has always been gentle and caring like this, and I loved her.
はーい、皆さん、おやつの時間ですよ。リビングに集まって席についてください。
After I finished serving, I went to each of the bedrooms and called the elderly people as gently as possible in a bright voice. In the center, there are usually 3 to 4 elderly people sharing a room, split by gender. In a spacious room inside the hospital, good friends gathered together to chat, watch TV, and lay in bed.
おお、今日は夏美ちゃんか。久しぶりだの。
そういえば今日は土曜日じゃったな。
The elderly people recognized my face and gave me a friendly smile. When I first started, I was wondering if I'd be able to handle the work, but ever since I was young, I was always a grandma's child, so I was able to adapt surprisingly quickly. By now, I got along with everyone.
こんにちは、おじいちゃん、おばあちゃん。あ、ちょっと待ってね。
I moved towards the person who just got up from bed and helped them into their wheelchair. The work I did required a lot of strength and consideration. I was happy to be told thank you when I did it properly.
本当に夏美ちゃんはいい子じゃねえ。とっても真面目で優しくての。
まったくじゃ。近頃の子には珍しいぞい。
If you think it's rare in your current timeline, wait till you see today.
そんなことないよ。私本当に不器用だから、足りないことがあったら何でも言ってね。
いやいや、大事なのは気持ちがこもっているかどうかじゃよ。うちの嫁にも教えてやりたいくらいじゃわい。
Oh yeah? Well, who's the groom? After the old men said that, their wrinkled faces crumpled with laughter. Their gentle expressions felt warm, and I could feel the tension releasing from my face.
そうじゃな。なんだったら夏美ちゃん、うちの息子の嫁に来んかね。夏美ちゃんなら大歓迎じゃよ。
こらこら、みつさん。抜け駆けはなしじゃと前にわしらで話し合ったじゃろうが。それに、みつさんとこの息子さん、今年で50過ぎじゃなかったのか。
That'd be quite the age gap.
おお、そうじゃった。忘れてたわ。
Such amazing laughter. I wasn't sure if his compliments were just flattery, but just being praised in a friendly manner was encouraging. So for the first time, I thought that I was really good at this job.
それじゃあリビングに集まってね。おじいちゃん、車椅子平気？
おお、もう自分の手足のように自由自在じゃわい。今度体を鍛え直して競技会にでも参加してやろうかのう。
本当に？じゃあ私お弁当作って応援に行くね。
楽しみにしておれよ。
Taizo-san flexed the bicep on his slender arm. I wasn't feeling well when I first got here. I was completely depressed, and my legs were weak. But even so, things got brighter while entertaining everyone in the room. Seeing people like that old woman regain their energy brought joy to the bottom of my heart. I was delighted.
それじゃあみんな、いつも通り席は名札のあるところに座ってね。ちゃんとみんなに同じ分あるから、喧嘩しちゃダメだよ。
食い物の恨みは恐ろしいからな。気をつけてな、次郎吉さん。
おいおい、トメさん。わしが泰造さんと言い合ったのは相撲の物言いについてじゃぞ。そんなに意地汚いことで喧嘩なんぞしちょらんわい。おい、そういや、もうそろそろ放送が始まる時間じゃな。
わしゃドラマの再放送の方がええんじゃがの。
I'd rather not watch a drama, to be honest. Everyone vibrantly exited the room, arguing about this and that. After seeing them off, I quickly made the bed and headed to the next room.
さて、ここで最後っと。あれ？
After finishing that room, I turned and looked into the room in the corner of the hallway. There was just one person sitting on the bed with his back turned to me, an old man looking out the window.
おじいちゃん、おやつの時間ですよ。
Why do I have a sneaking suspicion that you're going to be an important side character? I tried calling to him from the entrance, but he didn't respond. I wondered if he couldn't hear, so I entered the room, and I approached from the side to avoid surprising him from behind. From the side, I gently peered in. I couldn't recognize his face. Come to think of it, Yamase-sen said that a new person was admitted a few days ago.
ちょっとね、変わったおじいちゃんなのよ。どうも人付き合いが苦手な人みたいで、なかなかみんなと打ち解けてくれなくてね。
The old man didn't turn toward me. He should have noticed, but he just continued vacantly looking outside. I couldn't sense any vitality in his expression. I gasped for a moment when the idea he might not be feeling well came to me, but then I noticed him blinking, and it made me feel relieved. Once again, trying not to surprise him, I gently called out.
おじいちゃん、
Harakiyama.
様。
You whispering Orishiro-sama on me right now? Taking a good look, I saw his lips faintly moving, muttering something. I thought it was a little rude, but I moved in a little closer and listened in. Then,
おやしろ様。仕分けせん。
おやしろ様。
it was slight, but the word I heard clearly was caught in my memory. Oishiro-sama. Then, perhaps.
おじいちゃん、ひょっとしてひなみ沢の人？あ、いた。
Suddenly, without warning, he turned to face me. I was so surprised I fell on my backside. I looked up while rubbing my back, and the old man was looking down at me with wide eyes. Looking again, this old man was moderately strong. Maybe this topic was taboo with him?
ごめんなさい。変なこと聞いて、私。
お嬢ちゃん、あんた、ひなみ沢の子かい？
Feeling confused, I gulped and nodded back at him. I was technically from the neighboring town of Okinomiya, but Grandma was from Hinamizawa village, so I wasn't stretching the truth too far.
名前は？
君吉夏美。
君吉？じゃあ、御三家の？
はい、そうです。
Wait a minute. Now that you mention it, Kimiyoshi was one of the three families. We're talking about the old man, right? Huh. Wonder how I forgot that. After answering that, I was completely convinced. Hearing Kimiyoshi and responding three families, this man must be from Hinamizawa. And it seemed like the old man had the same impression. Suddenly the light returned to his lifeless eyes, and his hard as stone face thawed at once.
こんなところで同郷の子に会うとはのう。なんという奇遇じゃ。
Don't kill me now! I was surprised when he suddenly picked up my hand. Contrary to his appearance, or rather as indicated, he squeezed my hand with tremendous power, and I screamed in shock. But he noticed my reaction and immediately let go of my hand. My palm was turning bright red. Sniffle. Look what you did to my hand! Apologize!
おお、すまんすまん。
Thank you.
いやいや、あんまりに嬉しくての。こんな都会の締め切られた場所に放り込まれて憂鬱じゃ思っておったが、ま、これもお社様のお導きかの。
I gave him a vague nod while smiling awkwardly. I was glad and a little embarrassed, but more than that, I was perplexed by the frank and unusual change of atmosphere. What was the deal with his serious demeanor earlier? For a while, I listened to the old man tell me stories about his memories of Hinamizawa. He seemed difficult to approach at first glance, but once he opened his mouth, he was a very talkative person.
そういや、夏美ちゃんと言ったかの。あんたいつこっちに来たんじゃ。
私？去年だよ。おじいちゃんは？
わしは今年の春なんじゃ。息子夫婦が共働きになって仕方なくここにの。
そうなんだ。
まあ都会じゃと何かと物入りで、わしも最近足腰が弱くなったし、若いもんに面倒をかけるわけにはいかんしな。
We need to get some protein in you. Lots and lots of protein. Though he shrugged and smiled bitterly, he let out a lonely sigh. I noticed the name Hatakeyama written on the breast pocket of his pajamas. I already beat you to the punch on the name there.
元気出してよ、おじいちゃん。頑張って体調戻したら、きっとまた息子さんたちと一緒に暮らせるようになるよ。
そうかの。
そうだよ。最初は寝たきりで元気なかったけど、一生懸命リハビリして歩けるようになって、お家に帰った人も大勢いるんだから。だから、おじいちゃんも頑張ろう。ね。
Or, hear me out, we just give him some cybernetic legs. That'd be cool, right? To have a cyborg dad walking around the house, ready to kick in the face of any burglar that's stupid enough to come in. Probably has incredible jumping strength too, leaping over skyscrapers. Tell me that doesn't sound cool.
ありがとうな、夏美ちゃん。あんたいい子じゃのう。
Hatakeyama said that and laughed blissfully. I smiled and nodded to him in turn. Right then, I heard Yamase-san's voice calling to Natsumi-chan. Everyone except us was probably already gathered together in the living room.
おじいちゃん、これから3時のおやつだから一緒に行こう。ね。
ん？ああ、いや、わしはあまり甘いものが好きじゃないんだが。
ダメだよ。おじいちゃんはここに来てまだ日が浅いんだから、みんなとも仲良くしないと。これもリハビリの第一歩だよ。ね。
I was a bit scared of the way he wrinkled his eyebrows, but I felt a bit of a kinship with him, being from the same village, so I smiled and let out a friendly laugh. I watched the old man as he reluctantly stood up. He had a firmer footing than I expected, so I only lightly gave a hand. Still, the hand holding mine was warm and pleasantly gentle.
ところでおじいちゃん。
なんじゃ？
さっき。
Why were you muttering, Oyashiro-sama? As I was about to ask, Grandma's face crossed my mind for a moment, and I barely caught my mouth. I don't really believe in Oyashiro-sama. Back in Okinomiya, all the kids my age were like that. However, I've learned from experience that the elders in the village consider any joking, slander and disbelief of Oishiro-sama to be an absolute taboo.
どうしたんだね。
なんでもないの。それじゃあ行こう。
But a slight uneasiness remained in my chest, piercing me like a needle. The tenants are being sent to bed right after dinner at the Care and Welfare Center. I checked on all the rooms, and once I finished cleaning the living room, my work for the day was over.
お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様。夏美ちゃん、今日はありがとうね。
When I returned to the waiting room, Yamase-san offered me a warm coca while smiling gently. I thanked her as I tilted my head quizzically. Did they have coca in the supply room here?
これは夏美ちゃんへのご褒美よ。畠山さんのお世話をしてくれたことのね。
Word travels fast.
いえ、そんな。
The sweet smell made me smile as I bashfully lifted the cup to my mouth. It was sweet and very tasty. When I brought the old man Hatekeyama to the living room, not only were the elderly people in the room surprised, but Yamase-san and all the caregivers were surprised too. I heard later that several people had tried talking to him, but he never played along. Caregivers reluctantly brought me his meals to his room, but with no idea how to handle him, they'd even gone as far as suggesting to move him to another floor. But today, he came to dinner and ate it properly to the end. After learning that, I felt a little proud.
それにしても、どんな魔法を使ったの？あの畠山さんと仲良くなれるなんて。
内緒です。
I answered somewhat evasively. It's because we're from the same town. That's what I started to say, before swallowing my words. It's embarrassing. But more than that, I was somewhat reluctant to tell her I was from a place deep in the countryside that I was sure she and the others had never heard of. By the time I got dressed and headed outside, the sun had already set and the sky was getting dark. There was a star shimmering faintly in the western sky.
はあ、ちょっと遅くなっちゃったかな。
I looked at my wristwatch and lightly sighed. I told Mom that I was attending a club activity today, but I wonder if she'll scold me for this. To tell the truth, my family doesn't know about my part-time job at the Care and Welfare Center. Part-time jobs are prohibited by school regulations, of course, but that's not my only reason. I wanted to surprise Mom and Dad with an anniversary gift.
今年で20年目だって言ってたしね。
Well, congrats to them. There is less than a month until the day. Dad doesn't care about that sort of thing, so I'm sure he won't be doing anything special. But despite appearances, Mom is surprisingly romantic. She hasn't said it, but I'm sure she's expecting something to commemorate it.
だから父親の牧年人を娘がフォローしてあげます。なんちゃって。
Looks like I forgot to silence my phone. Silly me, I should do that before someone gets the brilliant idea of trying to call me. While muttering to myself, I thought about how Dad would react. It was amusing. Though he'll be embarrassed by my uncouth behavior, I'm sure he'll be grateful that I offered a hand. Even so, it doesn't feel like lending and borrowing. Whatever happens, all I need is everyone in the family smiling in a good mood. Because that makes me happy.
それに、
That wasn't my only motivation. The other reason was that I wanted to change myself in this town by experiencing a part-time job. I thought about getting a job since I was in Okinomiya. Ever since I saw that girl from the Sonozaki family, Mion-chan, while she was working. I think you might... No, wait a minute. Mion works in a toy shop, that's right. She was always cheerful, sharp, and knew how to swim with the tide. Even though she was younger than me, she looked like a mature person of firm character. That was Mion Sonozaki-chan. She always acted like a leader. I'm sure Mion will be able to overcome any obstacle. And unlike the rest of us, she was always talking with adults and the elders as equals. She was cool. But honestly, I'm sure I felt something of a rivalry. Even I won't be a child forever. I've grown up and made an effort, so I should be able to do something to help others. Still, I couldn't forgive the idea that Okinomiya was keeping me locked in the frame of a child. But in this town, I'm sure. So, I guess it's a childish thing, but my part-time job is a symbol of getting one step closer to adulthood. You really shouldn't be in a hurry to grow up, kid. Trust me, you'll regret it. You'll regret it if you rush through your childhood. Getting tongue twisted. You'll regret it if you rush through your childhood. Just saying. It may be very small and fragile, but still, anything is good for me now. I want a reaction. I want confidence that I can stay in this town, and a clear place to belong. Still, Mom would get angry if she knew that I was breaking school rules. However, although I started this out of impulse, I wasn't about to quit halfway through. And what's more...
あれ?
At that moment...
君吉
Well, fancy running into you here, Sir Artist. As I stepped through the hospital service entrance, I looked at the face of a boy in the street and... I froze. Because it was...
Todo-kun?
Yes. It was dark and I couldn't see clearly, but it was definitely Akira Todo-kun.
どうしてここに?
あ、いや、スケッチの帰りに。
そうなんだ。
While smiling awkwardly, cold sweat began running down my back. Hospital visiting hours were already over. Plus, this area was for staff only, and there were light-up signs saying as much. Anyone going in and out of the hospital here would have to be staff for the care and welfare center. What should I do? If Todo-kun learns that I'm working part-time, word will get to the school. Well, hey, maybe I'll keep quiet. No, that's not all. Will Todo-kun look down at me for violating school rules?
君吉
It can't be helped. I thought of the excuse I used it because it's past visiting hours. I felt guilty, but opened my mouth to explain it to Todo-kun.
あら、君吉さん。今日は畠山さんのお世話、お疲れ様。
Thank you for helping me dig my grave, nurse.
気をつけて帰ってね。
Really helps ease the labor pains. And I don't mean the pregnancy kind. A senior caregiver let those words slip out, then left through the other side. What awful timing. So I help take care of some old people. Big whoop. You want to fight about it? New tips unlocked. Really, she's a good girl. Who's a good girl?
しかし千里、本当にいいのか？
ん？何が？
さっきの約束のことだ。もう少し考えてからでも遅くはなかったと思うんだがな。それに明日でなくても週明けに学校でやれば済んだ話じゃないのか？
Dad turned to face me with full attention as he asked that. But I didn't regret anything, so I answered cheerfully.
ダメだよ、それじゃあ。面談の日程が発表されるのは月曜日だけど、その日いきなり開始って子もいるんだしさ。特に夏美は地方からの転入組で成績以外でも目立つからね。あの担任の性格だと一番気合の入った初日に持ってきそうな気がするんだ。
あの担任とは随分な言いようだな。確か尾形という名の先生だったと思うが、ひょっとして気に入らんのか？
それもないこともないけど。
First off, it's not just Ogata. There are no really good teachers at my school. For me, who enrolled in this school just to be with Tamako and Akira, the expectations associated with being in an advanced school have been sickening. It's fine that they rank the students. That's probably necessary for them to help us compete properly. But the way they force future decisions upon us isn't just excessive, it's tyrannical.
尾形先生って去年から進路指導の担当になったんだけど、なんか全校の合格率上げることばっかり考えてる先生でさ、生徒にはあまり冒険させないっていうか、堅実なところしか受けさせないんだよ。
Gotta make sure those spreadsheets look good. That's pretty much all I can say.
一人一人の進路志望なんてほとんど無視。だから先輩の話だと、これから頑張ろうって思ってる子にまで、あなたのレベルだと大学はこことここってバッサリやっちゃってさ。
Could be that your school and these universities have like a special contract or a deal with them where if they send more high-ranking students their way, it benefits them financially or something like that. Like, I'm no expert on this stuff, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's mainly motivated by something like that. Money.
あれって夏美みたいに真面目にやってる子には結構きついと思うんだよ。
Honestly, Natsumi's grades are pretty average. Yeah, we admitted as much earlier. But I know the truth. The girl has been listening carefully and putting a ton of effort into taking notes to make up for the lag of transferring to a new school. Atta girl. Because of that, I wanted to help her. I'll be damned if those obstinate teachers trample Natsumi's efforts just because their grades don't reflect them.
まあそれはそうかもしれんが、明日は千里が楽しみにしていたコンサートがあったんだろう。何ヶ月も前からチケットを手に入れて、昨日の晩も話していたじゃないか。
そうだっけ？まあ来日するのも今回限りじゃないみたいだし、次の機会を待てばいいって。
Damn. Now you're making me feel guilty.
それにユミ、ものすごく行きたがっていたのに抽選外れて落ち込んでたから、彼女に恩を売って一石二鳥ってとこかな。
After saying that, I put a smile on my face to show that it's no problem. To be honest, I was looking forward to this concert more than Yumi. I'll probably never be lucky enough to get seats right in front of the stage again. But, like I said, I don't regret anything. No matter how big a fan I am, Natsumi is far more important. She's my highest priority. Because she's my best friend. Aww. Really. To me, she's irreplaceable.
そういえば、夏美さんでいいのかな。 最初見た時は私も少し驚いたよ。あまりにも似ていて。
そう？
Who's alike with Natsumi?
しんすけから話を聞いた時はそれほどとは思わなかったんだがね。年は違うが。
I glanced at Yamashina-san's reflection in the rearview mirror. Shinsuke is Yamashina-san's first name. He probably got that impression of Natsumi and mentioned it to Dad.
お前にしては珍しく、知り合って間もない子に随分親身になってあげていると不思議に思っていたんだが、そういうことだったんだな。
違うよ、父さん。あの子はいい子だから。それだけ。本当にそれだけ。
お前の気持ちはよくわかる。わかったがな、千里。
父さん。
This was getting a little out of hand. I lashed out at him from prodding at things I didn't want touched. Being my father, that was enough for him to realize he'd rubbed me the wrong way.
すまんな。つまらないことを言った。
いいよ。
To escape the awkwardness, I turned to look at the flowing landscape out the window. And without saying anything, Dad opened his window and lit a cigarette.
そうだよ。あの子は夏美。私の大事な友達。
I softly murmured to myself, and those words rolled out. You don't sound too sure of that. Suddenly, right then, in my mind, I saw that girl's smiling face with another face overlapping it, and a sigh escaped me. Alright, so Natsumi reminds you of someone else who you know and clearly have some pretty strong feelings for. Don't know the nature of those strong feelings, but clearly they're of a great importance all the same. Definitely had me a little interested now, that's for sure. So, I think we can go ahead and continue on for a little bit more. And then the fated day arrived. As Chisato-chan expected, the time came early in the week. I don't know how many hundreds of times I sighed like that today. I'm going to assume at least 5. Every time, Tamako-chan and Chisato-chan would provide me with encouragement, but it did nothing to restore my vitality. It was like trying to draw water using a bucket with a hole in it.
ほら、リラックスして。ちゃんと準備してきたんだし、心配ないってば。
でも、私本当に大丈夫かな。
大げさに考えすぎだよ。早い人だと5分くらいで終わっちゃうんだし、夏美もそんなに時間かからないと思うよ。
だといいんだけど。
ああ、もうすぐ弱気にならない。これは大人になるための通過儀礼みたいなものなの。さなぎから蝶へ、少女から女へ。てなやつだからどんと構えていこうよ。
っていうか、あんたもいちいちオーバーだ。
As usual, Chisato-chan got carried away with excitement, and Tamako-chan suppressed it for sharp retorts. However, unlike usual, I didn't have the composure to interrupt. I was right. Today was the first day of career meetings, my first since I transferred to the school. Or more accurately, the first in my life. It's an important personal interview to direct my future. I still recommend becoming a 5-star chef. For a while now, I've been unable to stop sighing. Yesterday, on Sunday, I was glad to have Chisato and Tamako providing me with all sorts of advice. At the same time, it's because I've been faced with the reality of how little I've been taking my own future seriously. Heck, until yesterday, I didn't even know that universities had different departments where you learned different subjects. The only thing I understood was the value of my test scores. And these two were quite shocked to hear how little I knew about entrance exams. But on the other hand, that also meant it was a good idea to prepare with the two of them. If I needed the teacher to explain everything to me, she would have scolded me? I assume there's supposed to be a me here? For being so ignorant. I seriously would have been dead in shock. Of course, I know that won't be any comfort.
ほらほら、元気出していこう、夏美。気にしても人生は始まらないぞ。
いや、あんたはもう少し気にしろ。地球が滅んでも生きていそうなあんたと違って、夏美はデリケートなんだからね。
Well, color me shocked. Why am I having trouble pronouncing your name right now? Chisato is more durable than she looks.
人をゴキブリみたいに言うな。大体な。
Chisato-chan stopped making a fuss when she noticed how tense and rigid I was. And Tamako-chan, who noticed as well, shrugged with a bitter smile and gently smacked my shoulder, then spoke.
大丈夫だって、夏美。そもそも面談ってのは、一人で悩んでも仕方ないことを相談する機会なんだからね。そんなに肩肘張らなくても何もないって。
でも、私、勉強も運動も波以下だし、進路だって。
Now, don't sell yourself short like that. We at least qualify as a midwit.
安心しなさい。私だってまだ進路白紙だよ。それに、夏美がくよくよしてたりしたら、ここにいるあっちょっぷり家はどうなるの？将来を絶望して、この場で切腹しなきゃならないでしょ？
おうおうおう。言うにこと書いて、ずいぶん言ってくれるじゃん、タマさんよ。誰があっちょんぷり家だって？
あんたのこととは一言も言ってないけど。
Methinks thou protest too much, Chisato-chan.
それとも自覚はあったの
Chisato-chan fell down clutching her chest. While watching, I finally realized that the two of them were trying to cheer me up by making this exchange more over the top than usual.
あ、そうだ。夏美にいいものあげる。はい、これ。
Please tell me it's a lucky pencil.
え、これ
Tamako-chan handed me a crimson manicure nail kit. How am I supposed to write with this? It was the same color that she had painted on the tips of her white feet that I'd seen back in PE class.
いいの？たまこちゃん。これって高いんでしょ？
いいっていいって。欲しかったんでしょ？たくさん持ってるから、夏美のお守りに。ね。
After saying that, Tamako-chan giggled and winked at me. I felt a bit embarrassed that she'd noticed my fixation back then, but my joy from her show of consideration trumped that. I clutched the small box tightly.
ありがとう。
くれぐれも先生に見つかっちゃダメだよ。私みたいにカモフラージュするんだからね。
わかった。
My very first manicure. My heart lit up. I had a little bit of fashion sense, but I never caught anyone's eye. It was a small step, but being able to put on adult makeup made me happy. Oh, but I have to keep this a secret from Mom. Mom doesn't think highly of the fashionable habits I picked up since I came to the city. It seems she's worried it will lead me to delinquency. Her suspicions may be ill-founded, but it's probably better to keep it secret for the time being. And I should absolutely avoid telling Grandma.
よそ様の子みたいだよ。
I can't forget Grandma's expression while she muttered that. I'm just having a little fun, so I don't want to make Grandma feel uncomfortable. But where should I hide it? A place that both Mom and Grandma would be unable to find. How about inside my desk drawer? Since I was little, I would hide my treasures in my drawer. It's locked with a key. You can't force it open, no matter what. Somehow, I began to enjoy the feeling of having a little secret. Thanks to the compassion these two have shown me, for the moment they've made my heavy heart feel lighter. After school, the time for my personal interview finally came.
そんじゃ、教室で待っててあげるからね。リラックスだぞ。
頑張ってね、夏美。
頑張ってくる。
While feeling the cheers of Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan on my back, my trembling hands grabbed the door of the career consultation room. First, I took a deep breath. Calm my mind. Okay, let's go. When I knocked on the door with a loud tap-tap, I heard the teacher reply, "Come in," from inside.
失礼します。
My heart pounding, I opened the door. I heard the high-pitched echo of the door frail. The career consultation room was rather cramped. My homeroom teacher, Ogata-sensei, was sitting in the back of the room on the other side of the partition screen and looking face down, writing something in the notes spread out at her desk. Right, left, right, left. I was feeling tense. Both my hands were shaking. Moving like a robot, I finally reached the teacher.
どうぞ、そこに座って。
はい。
After awkwardly taking a seat, I faced Ogata-sensei. Almost at the same time, she finally raised her face from the document, then began to speak in a clinical tone. I saw my picture lying upside down and the file spread out on the desk, which meant my report card was probably there. I was curious about what was written in there, but I was a bit scared to look.
では、君吉夏美さん、面談を始めましょうか。
よろしくお願いします。
I deeply bowed my head. After all my friends did to support me, I still couldn't relax. Back in Okinomiya, while we didn't have to bother with interviews, every teacher was approachable enough to ask questions or for advice in the staff room during breaks. I guess since the number of students was smaller, there were more opportunities to talk with the teachers. So I think that my teachers knew me pretty good as well. But since there are so many students in class at the school, I don't speak much with the teacher. Plus, Ogata-sensei rarely got angry, but she was the kind of teacher who made a clear distinction between public and private spaces. Thus, it was difficult to talk to her even in the staff room. Honestly, I wasn't good at dealing with her. But more than that, the biggest reason I couldn't wipe away my anxiety was my own attitude towards my future. Certainly, Chisato-chan taught me a lot about the trends of the school and undergraduate programs popular even in our class. But all of them seemed impossible to imagine. None of them seemed like attractive goals to strive for. So, even if I'm lucky enough to pass, what will I do? My doubts and hesitation parched in my throat in tandem with the sense I was out of place, and my words had an unnecessary stiffness, that made it difficult to let them out. I tightly clenched my fists on my knees. I shouldn't be thinking about this. Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan stayed late yesterday to help me, so I need to face this with a firm attitude to honor their compassion.
まずは君吉さん。先週提出の進路表には何も書いていなかったようですが、今目指している学校とか何かやりたいことはありますか？
あ、はい。
I breathed lightly to calm myself down. Then I pulled out the words I had prepared in advance.
できれば外国語を習得できるような大学に進学できればと考えています。
Gonna become a 5-star chef in India?
外国語。それは英語ですか？
はい。これからは国際的な交流がどの職業でも大切な業務になると言われています。ですから、外国語、特に英語の技能をしっかりと身につけていきたいと思います。
国際的というと随分と幅広い話ですが、例えばそれはどんな職業ですか？
はい。じゃなかった。父が商社に勤めていますので、海外での商取引を中心にした仕事がしたいと思っています。
This was the advice Chisato-chan gave me. Even if you haven't decided what you want to do, bringing up examples of familiar people and saying you aim to be like them will probably be convincing. And that advice was excellent. Ogata-sensei listened to me and gave me a better look with a little bit more interest in her eyes.
なるほど。ちなみに大学としてはどこを考えていますか？
While recalling the material I reviewed yesterday, I told her the name of the university my friends recommended. While listening to my story, Ogata-sensei wrote something on the paper attached to my file. The writing was small and upside down, so I couldn't read it from here.
なるほど。定期試験の成績も徐々に上がってきているみたいですね。最初は理数系にかなり不安があったようですが、いい傾向だと思います。途中転入で大変だったでしょうが、よく頑張りましたね。
ありがとうございます。
Though she spoke in a clinical tone, I was being praised, so I felt relieved. For the time being, thanks to Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan's advice, I was at least able to answer the questions without getting stuck on the words. I owed that to the both of them, so I mentally thanked them. However,
ただ、君吉さん。
はい。
もしこの大学に進学したいのだとしたら、今の成績ではちょっと、ね。
I hear that sound effect from Silent Hill so much, and it's just instant dopamine to my brain. Sorry, moving on. And then, Ogata-sensei pulled another file out from beneath the first one and spread it out for me. There were various graphs drawn there. My grades were listed there along with a list of university acceptance scores. Compared to the scores next to the names of the universities there, my grades were in places marked D and E. Jesus. I guess we don't qualify as a half-wit after all. All of them, including the university and department I'd named.
でも、今の成績なら十分圏内だって私。
君吉さんが志望した大学は 最近人気が集まって昨年よりも競争率が高くなっているんです。それにここは特殊な入試内容で、特に英数は教科書以外の範囲が出ることも多いから、合格ラインも公表より高くなっています。だから内部進学者でもない限り、今からだと相当勉強しないと難しいでしょうね。
そんな。
Strange. It's strange. Things I never learned in class will be asked on the entrance exams. Then, even if I take school seriously and listen well, it's all pointless, isn't it? Even though I was trying hard to catch up with everyone.
君吉さんのご家庭では受験浪人についてご理解がありますか？
いえ、
My words were vague, but I'm sure my thoughts were plain to see on my face. Ogata-sensei gently turned her eyes and ran her pen across my file. Mom wants me to go to a nice university, but she means one that I can get into on the first try. If I tell her I'd be aiming to pass the second time around, I'm sure she'll be concerned about appearances and oppose it. Besides, my family doesn't have the money to send me to prep school either.
それなら君吉さん、もう少し合格ラインを下げて、この辺りなんてどうですか？ここならもう少し頑張ればきっと大丈夫ですよ。
After she said that, the teacher turned the page over. They're all junior colleges, and very far from home. Even if I can enroll, the tuition and boarding fees will be tremendous.
ここはちょっと、お母さんたちも。
何も進学だけではないですよ。就職する子もいるし、いろんな方面に進む子もいます。君吉さんは何かやりたいことはありますか？
She said it in a calm tone. But the cruel words she said were like being splashed with cold water. I was losing my composure. I was trembling more than when I came into this room.
やりたいことは別に。
君吉さんは地方からの転入組の遅れを挽回して本当によく頑張っていると思います。でも大学受験の競争率は年々上昇する傾向にあります。志望校に合格したいのでしたら、これからはより一層頑張らないといけませんよ。
はい。
The teacher sighed faintly in response to my feeble answer while adjusting her glasses. Was she exasperated with me? Not that I could blame her. No matter how you look at me now, I was a spoiled brat who couldn't accept reality.
ところで、勉強以外に何か好きなものありますか？例えばスポーツとか。
運動、苦手なんです。
Of course, that's a field that requires natural talent. So it's not a field you can just work your way towards at the sudden turn of a hat. It seems like the teacher thought she might have gone too far and brought that subject to cushion the blow. But right now, it came off as an insult. No. I was growing more and more disgusted with my lack of redeeming qualities. The teacher turned the document over again and began tapping the desk with her fingertips. I started to worry about every move she made, and my body grew stiffer by the moment. The rubbing sound as she flipped through the pages accumulated like a lump in the back of my ear, growing pleasant. I feel like I've heard this sound somewhere. You and me both. That's right. It was.
美術とか芸術系はどうですか？隣のクラスの東堂くんのように陸王大学の推薦で美術を頑張る生徒もいますよ。
Right then, the teacher's tongue unexpectedly slipped, letting me know the school Todo-kun was applying to. Rikuo University. I know that name. When I was reading the course guidance yesterday, I stopped on that page because I thought that the school building was very beautiful.
まあ、今のはあくまで一例ですが、進路には他にもいろんな道があります。だから、気を落とさないで頑張ってみてください。あ、他にも。
However, after that, any words of comfort or suggestions from my teacher went through one ear and came right out the other. As soon as I heard Toto-kun's name and his chosen path, my disappointment turned into despair. If wishes could come true, I would like to go to the same school as Toto-kun. It would be wonderful if that could be my goal. But reality is not so sweet. The school Toto-kun is aiming for offers ordinary courses in addition to the art courses. But the level is fairly high, and with my grades, they would turn me away at the door. No matter how hard I try, I absolutely can't get in. So, a few years from now, Toto-kun and I will go our separate ways. After graduation, I won't be able to see him. If that happens, I'll likely never see him again. Why? Why was I born and raised in Hinamizawa? If I lived in this town from the beginning, I'm sure I would be doing my best at studying. Even the crowds wouldn't scare me at all. And I would be more fashionable. I could jump into Chisato-chan's conversations without hesitation. I would be even happier. So, why? I heard something in my ear. The sound of scraping paper every time the teacher flipped through the document.
あ、戻ってきた。って、夏美？
When Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan noticed me, they ran over with their eyes wide open. I must have entered the classroom looking like the world had just ended.
どうしたのよ、夏美。どっか触られた？
そっちから離れなさい。それで、どうだった？
I silently shook my head. Then everything came crashing down, and huge tears began pouring from my eyes.
夏美？
ちょっと、マジ？の野郎、あのババア！夏美に何言いやがったんだ！
待ちな、千里。
Unlike earlier, Chisato-chan's eyes widened with genuine rage as she attempted to storm out of the classroom. But Tamako-chan grabbed her by the arm just in time and blocked her way.
そこをどいて、タマコ！あの冷血女には、私は前から頭に来てたんだ！
落ち着きなってちさ。あんたが怒鳴り込んで何かが解決するの？
けどさ！
もう、いいの。
I couldn't bring myself to say anything more, so I hung my head. My eyes welled with tears again at the thought of how pathetic and unpleasant I was.
夏美。
Chisato-chan gently embraced me, without any of her usual playfulness. Because of our height difference, my head was resting on her chest. Chisato-chan smelled very nice.
落ち着いた？
ごめんね。
I blew my nose on a tissue that Tamako-chan handed me, and finally raised my head. I've been crying for a while without saying anything, and my friend stayed beside me the whole time.
しかし、あの尾形も容赦がないよね。もうちょっと言い方ってもんがあるだろうにさ。
まあ、あの先生は葉っぱかけるのが教師の役目だって信じてるところがあるからね。私たちは高校受験前の塾とかで慣れっこだったから別にいいんだけどさ。
つうか、試験が授業内容の範囲外ってどういうことよ。そこまで行くと、もはやクイズ番組の世界でしょうが。
内部進学者を有利にするための救済措置でしょうね。裏口入学よりは健全だと思うけど。
けどさ、ごめん、夏美。私の甘い見立てで、あんたに嫌な思いさせちゃった。
After saying that, Chisato-chan brought her hands together and apologized.
そんな、千里ちゃんは悪くないよ。私が甘かったのは事実なんだもの。
いや、これは間違いなく私が悪い。結構自信持って進めたんだけど、私が調査不足だった。本当にごめんね。
そうだね。私も去年の資料で知ったかぶりしてた。夏美のフォローのつもりだったのに、役に立てなかったね。
Even Tamako-chan's shoulders were slowly drooping. Seeing the two of them trying to be considerate of someone like me made me feel guilty. But more than that, I was grateful for them.
もういいの。ありがとう。千里ちゃん、たまこちゃん。私、これから頑張る。ちょっとショックだったけど、まだ受験まで時間があるんだし。ね、
夏美。
Yeah, that's right. If I stay depressed forever, it'll hurt Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan. So, I did my best to give them a smile. I don't want to be any more of a nuisance to my loving friends.
よーし、それでこそ私の夏美だ。じいちゃんは嬉しいぞ。
Chisato-chan pulled me in with both arms, hugging me like there's no tomorrow. Chisato-chan, I know you're happy, but it hurts. It's painful. I can't breathe, you know?
いやいや、さすがは私の自慢の夏美だね。まさに保護者冥利に尽きるってやつだよ。
ちょっと千里、あんたいつから夏美の保護者になった？しかも何気なく所有権主張してるんじゃないっての。
Probably around the time she called me her patches when she did it. Woof woof.
私と夏美の愛はたとえあんたでも止められないのさ。悔しかったら奪ってごらん。ほらほら。
はあ、そうですか。てい。
Just when I thought I heard a cheerful shriek above me, Chisato-chan let me go and fell flat on the floor. I turned around to find Tamako-chan holding two dictionaries stacked on top of each other. Oh damn, she doubled her attack power!
まったく、いくらなんでも悪乗りしすぎだっての。まあ、それはさておき。夏美。
Tamako-chan took my hand and gently wrapped it in her warm hands. Come to think of it, this was the first time Tamako-chan held my hand like this.
たまこちゃん。
この町って以前の夏美の住んでたところとは生活のリズムが違うから大変だろうけど、今日みたいに失敗して迷惑かけちゃうかもしれないけど、困ったことがあったら何でも相談してよ。
I also smiled and nodded, my hand still being held by both of her hands. They were really gentle, reassuring, and warm. These two are my best friends.
ありがとう、たまこちゃん。
ってこら、たまこ。美味しいところを取っていくんじゃないっての。
奪っていけって言ったのはあんたでしょうが、千里。夏美のことが好きなのはあんただけじゃないんだからね。
なら私はこうしてやる。うりゃ
ー Can't we just share me?
こら
So I can't worry them anymore. I'll do the best I can and smile. think that's the only way I can repay my wonderful friends.
というわけで、これから街に繰り出そう。久しぶりにパーッと遊んじゃおうよ。
あんたは年中遊びほうけているでしょうが。でも、それもいいかもね。いいでしょ、夏美。
I nodded energetically, doing as much as I could to shake off my dark feelings from a minute ago. I need to seriously consider the future. However, I think it's just as important to nurture friendship during my one and only high school experience. Yeah, that's right. I still don't know what I want to do, but it would make me very happy if I could stay friends and have fun with Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan forever. I was all alone, sitting at my seat in the classroom. Tamako-chan had apparently needed to run errands, so she left school early. I decided to wait for Chisato-chan, who went to buy stationery at the school store. Once she came back, we would go meet up with Tamako-chan at the station. I looked up at the clock on the wall. There was still plenty of time.
それにしても千里ちゃん、別に購買部で買わなくても。
I know I've already told her she could just get it at a stationery store in town. But at the time, Chisato-chan just raised her fist, got up in my face, and said,
学校の購買部の方が2割ほど安い。こんな恩恵を無駄にしてどうしようというのだ、少年よ。
Can't argue with that. But I'm a girl. Still, for the daughter of a major hospital director, Chisato-chan can be oddly stingy sometimes. You say that like that's a bad thing. And that's why I was waiting for her in this classroom. Since I had some alone time, I rested my head on the desk. My eyes caught a glimpse of something on the shiny desk, and I turned to look at it.
あ、落書き。
Moving my eyes in close, the characters on the corner of the desk became clear enough to read. This must have been written by the student sitting here.
登るとら？
Torah?
あいあい傘かな。
I can hardly read the name. And to be honest, I'm not interested in others' romance stories. Really, I don't have the time to waste on such things at the moment. A whole lot happened after school today. I got depressed, cried, and laughed. Thanks to that, my body was screaming with exhaustion. Actually, I felt much more exhausted mentally, so I couldn't even bring myself to move. I've been sighing a lot recently. They say that when you sigh, a little happiness escapes you every time. But if that's true, I wonder if I've exhausted an entire lifetime of happiness today.
ダメだよ、このままじゃ。二人の応援に応えるためにも頑張らなくちゃ。
I muttered that to myself as I propped my elbows on the desk and lifted my head. Even bravado is better than nothing. I'd like to spend the rest of the day repaying Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan, then go back home and sleep all night. Then I'll think about all this starting tomorrow and try my hardest. It's a much more positive mindset than moping around all day. Just then, I heard the sound of the door opening. I looked back, thinking it was Chisato-chan. I'm betting it's Akira. Pick up that phone, 'cause I called it. But the person I saw there was Todo-kun.
東堂くん。
Todo-kun was hesitant to enter the classroom, and he was looking down with his his lips pursed. But for some reason, his clenched fists were lightly shaking. Is something the matter? Todo-kun looks angry. That's right. I remember. I ran into Toto-kun the other day, right after I left the care and welfare center. When he saw me, he was really surprised. He looked as though he had seen something he was not meant to see. Avert your gaze! This school's rules prohibit students from holding part-time jobs. Of course, there are students who work secretly, but apparently they're treated like delinquents and strictly punished when they are discovered. Since Toto-kun looks so serious, maybe he came to warn me about that before it caused problems? But how do we break the ice? If I turn upon him, he won't have any reason to blame me. So I shouldn't have to apologize and I can deny everything. But I can't do that to Toto-kun. And even if he scolds me for doing a bad thing, that's better than him thinking I'm a bad person. It's no good. When I look at Toto-kun, I feel like my indiscretion is written all over my face. If I let my guard down even a bit, I get the sense the words will come spilling out. Every time I see and think of Toto-kun, it makes me feel happy. And my true feelings for him come welling from deep, deep in my heart. If I could tell him, if I could do that, But I didn't have the courage to say anything more, so the awkward silence continued. Toto-kun remained silent as well, still looking at the ground. I wanted to say something, but I can't. I wanted to tell him, but I can't. Though I was happy beyond belief to have this opportunity to see Toto-kun so closely and talk with him. My throat froze from an anxiety, embarrassment, and my cowardly desire not to disappoint him. Hey, Toto-kun, please say something. Anything is fine. Even warning me about my part-time job is fine. I can apologize for it, and then we can start talking. But I can't make the first step. Please give me a chance to respond to your words. Please?
さ
It was hard to breathe, like there was heavy air spreading through my chest. My heart was pounding faster. Both my palms were sweating heavily. The silence grew heavy, and I felt overwhelmed. My field of vision was steadily getting narrower. If I stay still like this, I'm really going to collapse. What should I do? What should I do? This isn't good. I can't take it anymore. I can't either! Jesus Christ! Somebody do something!
君は
これからね、千里ちゃんとたまこちゃんとね、お買い物でもね、お小遣い少ないから見るだけで全然買えないんだけどね。だけどこの前のセンターで会ったのはアルバイトじゃなくて、なんていうか知り合いのお手伝いで。
What am I talking about? I rambled on incoherently, unable to control the flow of my words. It felt less like I was rambling to defend myself and more like I wanted to drown out my guilt. However...
だから
After that, Toto-kun gave me a strange look. Faced with his stare head on, I earnestly made an effort to rein my words in and close my mouth. It was almost magical. No matter how panicked I was, I was ashamed of myself for trying to resort to excuses. It made me want to disappear. So I gave up and resolved myself to tell him the truth.
東堂くん、私、介護福祉センターでアルバイトしてて。
うん。
お母さんとお父さんの結婚記念日がもうすぐなの。それで二人にプレゼントを買ってあげたいなって。だから、学校に言うのはもう少しだけ待っててもらえないかな。
Huh? He had no reaction to that. Having turned my head away in embarrassment, I mustered the courage to look back at Toto-kun, and found him staring blankly with his eyes wide open.
東堂くん。
何？
No, that was my line.
そうじゃないの。私のアルバイトのことを注意しに来たのかなって。
Toto-kun quickly shook his head and denied it. Well then, why? I don't understand. Why is he here? I'll laugh if he's got the fifis for me. And like you, he's got his words caught in his throat because of that. My heart was beating fast. My legs were losing their strength, and my body trembled relentlessly. If this continued, I wouldn't be able to stand straight. In fact, I felt my vision swirling like I was going to faint right here. What should I do? What should I do?
君吉。
Trying to escape from this enchanting spell, I quickly turned on my heel to leave the classroom. And then, for some reason, Toto-kun grabbed my hand and held it tightly. Toto-kun's hand was warm and it felt reassuring, but I couldn't look back. My mind went blank and I stood there frozen in place. After a while, Toto-kun's fingers left mine. Then,
Kimiyoshi.
はい。
さ、君吉は好きな映画とかあるかな？
you are interested in me, aren't you? The question was unexpected, so I gaped at him, unable to conjure a reply. As I slowly turned around, I saw Toto-kun's blushing face as he fumbled awkwardly with his right hand outstretched in midair, murmuring something with his eyes downcast.
東堂か？
君吉。
And then, he looked up at me as if he'd resolved himself, then mustered his courage and carefully chose his words.
知りたいんだ。君吉のすべてが知りたいんだ。君吉の好きなもの、俺も好きになりたいから。
The things I like. But if the things but if by things he means people, then that'd be Toto-kun? I desperately suppressed the warmth overflowing from within my chest. I wanted to tell him how I felt. But could I really? Won't I give him a bad shock if I tell him out of the blue? I think depending on what he says within the next few sentences, he might give you a shock. I took a deep breath and, summoning my courage, I looked up at Toto-kun, but the words still wouldn't come out. Why was it so difficult to say something so obvious? And just like that, right when I started to feel depressed,
君吉、
はい。
転校してきた時からずっと気になってた。今まで勇気が持てなかったけど。
after saying that, Toro-kun glanced upwards and stood up straight.
俺は君吉のことが好きだ。
I couldn't believe my ears. Toro-kun said he loved me? All the clocks in the world came to a halt. It became an empty space, like everyone else had disappeared. In my eyes, all I could see was Toro-kun. No one else.
それでできれば君吉にもその好きになってもらえたらって。
After hearing his unexpected confession, I could only stand still, unable to find the words to respond. If I can't think of anything to say, I should at least be able to nod, but I couldn't even manage that. Because for me, this moment was unbelievable. Toro-kun was becoming uneasy. He nervously ran his fingers through his hair and folded his arms, impatiently waiting for my answer. I searched for the deepest feelings in my heart as I gazed at Toro-kun, going over the words, rephrasing them over and over again. I like you too, Toro-kun. I love you. Those were the words I've always wanted to tell him. A confession that would make me happy beyond belief, even if I could only tell him in my dreams. Nevertheless, the words that finally left my mouth were,
私はハッピーエンドの話が好きで、
That was all I could do. Toro-kun and I were standing face to face, so close that we could hear each other breathing. A moment I've always dreamed of. It was enough to make my heart burst with joy, and the rest I couldn't express with just words.
あ、返事はいつでもいいから。待ってる。それじゃあ。
Toro-kun and I parted with an awkward greeting. Maybe he was embarrassed, I thought, as I watched Toro-kun hastily retreating from the room, dissolving the tension that had enveloped us. My legs gave way, and I crouched down on the spot. This isn't a dream, is it? This is really happening right now, isn't it? I love Toro-kun. And Toro-kun loves me too. I never thought I'd be blessed with such a miraculous coincidence. The first love of my life. If that person is Toro-kun, I can step forward without fear. I'm sure I can withstand anything to protect this love. I'm so happy. Could this be the happiest I've ever been? Without thinking, a smile escaped my mouth, and I touched it. My hand was still trembling, and unable to hold it in, I made to leave the classroom with a full smile on my face. But then, I could see a silhouette transfixed at the door to the classroom. As I approached, thinking about who it could be, I saw it was Chisato-chan, who swiftly turned around to face me.
Chisato-chan!
You don't look too happy. Were you eavesdropping on us by any chance? Chisato-chan held a paper bag from the store in her hand, probably full of stationery. But why? Chisato-chan was clutching the bag so tightly it was crumpling, staring at me motionlessly with a gaze that pierced through my heart.
遅くなったね。結構待った？
I tried to examine her expression, fearfully peeking at her. However, Chisato-chan abruptly turned away, breaking her eye contact with me. This may have been the first rejection Chisato-chan had ever shown me. It was so unexpected, the shock left me paralyzed.
千里ちゃん、どうしたの？
ねえ、夏美。さっき、誰かここにいた？
え？
いたよね。
なんで？
いたよね。いたでしょ？ここに、アキラ、いたでしょ？
A strange aura emanated from Chisato-chan's entire body. My breath suddenly caught in my throat as I involuntarily stiffened. You're making me concerned, Chisato. Stifling a smile, she let out a low laugh. Even though she should have been laughing, Chisato-chan's hands were clenched tightly as her pale blood vessels stood out.
こそこそこそこそ。なんで隠すの？ね
別に隠すなんて。
隠したって無駄なのにさ。
千里ちゃん？
私、知らないと。
何を？
Chisato-chan's shoulders began to quiver.
夏美、好きな人、いるよね。
Chisato-chan's shoulders continued to tremble more and more. She clenched her fists even tighter to ease the shaking. I could see Chisato-chan's fingernails digging into her palms deep enough to draw blood. A shiver ran down my spine as my hair stood on end. Yeah, this definitely is not a good sign.
誰？そいつって。ねえ。
それは。
That's a secret. Why should I have to tell you, Chisato-chan? Those words turned over and over, spinning around in my head. But I couldn't say it. I couldn't bring myself to speak up when faced with Chisato-chan's daunting aura. So, I...
東堂くんだよ。東堂明くん。黙っててごめんね。私、ずっと前から憧れていたんだけど、でも、絶対無理だって思ってたから。隠してたんじゃないよ。ほんと、いつか言おうと思ってた。
I reached out to touch Chisato-chan's shoulder. But just then, she vigorously spun around. Simultaneously, my hand was shrugged off and left suspended like it was floating in the air. My right hand was slowly starting to turn reddish. Chisato-chan looked down at it as if it were something dirty.
千里ちゃん。
で。
As she spat those words out, Chisato-chan tightly clenched her teeth and coldly gazed at me, her face warped with rage. Chisato-chan. Why? This is different from usual. Am I mistaken? Or... The paper bag in Chisato-chan's hand made an unpleasant crinkling sound. Again. Why the sound?
千 サトちゃん、怒ってる。
She's clenching her fists tightly enough to draw blood. Her face is contorted with rage. She's acting very cross and accusatory with you. Hey, Chisato-chan, are you angry? What do you think, man? Come on.
ごめんなさい。別に千里ちゃんに隠し事するつもりはなかったんだよ。ただね。
夏美。
Interrupting my speech, Chisato-chan gripped my shoulders.
で、さっきアキラが来て、好きだって。
With Chisato-chan's sharp eyes cutting into me, I slowly nodded without being able to speak. And then... Chisato-chan bent her upper body back with a shrill sound of laughter. As if she was spasming, Chisato-chan's face warped into a smile. My legs were frozen in my confusion. I put a trembling hand on the desk to keep myself from collapsing.
この野郎!
What the fuck just happened? However, after a bout of laughter, Chisato-chan's expression and mood took a heel turn. She jumped on me, hugging me tightly. Timidly, I raised my head. I looked up and saw Chisato-chan's usual cheerful, bright smiling face.
もう、なんで黙ってたのよ。そういう話は早く言えっての。
千里ちゃん。
この幸せ者が。だいたい私に言ってりゃもっと早くハッピーになってたのにさ。
I wish I could believe you.
夏美、遠慮しすぎ。
ごめんね。千里ちゃん、東堂くんのことよく知ってるし、恥ずかしくて。
知ってるからこそでしょうが。アキラのことなら何でも知ってるんだから、私にまず相談しなさいっての。あんなことからこんなことまでいくらだって教えてあげられるんだからね。
Chisato-chan shrugged playfully.
私までワクワクしてきた。私に任せなさい。絶対カップル成立させてみせるから。
ちょっと待ってよ。
I appreciate the offer, but you're the kind of Cupid that I'd be incredibly nervous to have around. Just saying.
千里ちゃん、気が早す
ぎる。何弱気なこと言ってんの。恋はサバイバル。先手必勝。急がばずんずん前進あるのみだ。
That sounds like something that a yandere would say. Ignoring my desperate efforts to hold her back, Chisato-chan skipped ahead on nimble feet with her arms still wrapped around my shoulders.
やったね。実はタマコと二人で賭けしてたの。夏美がアキラに惚れてるんじゃないかって。で、私の勝ち。
And your response was pure, unadulterated rage? Well, maybe not pure, unadulterated, but really strong levels of rage. Okay.
あ、いや、ドローか。
たまこちゃんも知ってたの？
当たり前でしょ。初めて会った時に私たちが気づかなかったとでも思ってたの？タマコと二人でいつ打ち明けてくれるか待ってたんだからね。
ごめんね、言い出せなくて。
Chisato playfully tapped my forehead, then gently pressed her head against mine.
もう謝るのはなし。それに隠し事はなし。 いい？
Somehow I feel like this is a promise I'm not going to be able to keep. Doubly so because I'm sure you got plenty of secrets of your own you're probably keeping from me right now that I probably now should be a bit privy to. Now that I know that there's definitely another side to you that's hidden behind that smile of yours.
ありがとう、千里ちゃん。
まあ、私もアキラが相手で嬉しいよ。
That's not the impression I got.
どうして？
だってどこの馬の骨とも分かんないようなやつに夏美取られるなんて考えただけでもゾッとするしさ。まあちょっとボケボケなとこあるけど、アキラならよかったなってさ。
Chisato-chan clutched me tightly and flashed me a wide grin. Thank goodness. I'm sure I must have been misinterpreting her attitude just now. Yeah, that's right. Because my friends are very kind people. I'm truly happy that I met Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan. I'm glad I moved away from Okinomiya. I grasped Chisato-chan's hand as though I was taking hold of my happiness. Try not to get too much blood on it. Your hand, I mean. Chisato-chan roughly stroked my head and took my hand in hers as she broke into a run.
そんじゃパーッと行くぞ。
Well, I think that's about as good confirmation as any that whatever feelings that Chisato has towards Natsumi, it definitely goes past beyond your regular friendship. That was definitely not normal, how she reacted. And here's the thing. She's not a. I don't think she's a resident. I don't think I don't think she's a resident or Tamako were close enough to the Hinazawa region to contract Hinazawa syndrome. So, if she doesn't have the Hinazawa syndrome in her system, then this could very well be just plain old regular mental instability from Chisato that we're dealing with here. In which case, well, okay, in practice, I mean, both are pretty bad to deal with, but, well, I say it's worse in this case for me personally because, well, if it's not being caused by the bug, then that creates an unknown factor here that I gotta take into account, and it makes it harder for me to figure. It would make it harder for me to figure out how to. Well, it's not like I really have any player agency in this thing anyway. So what could I do? But well, what I'm ultimately trying to say is, well, I don't know what her deal is, and that unknownness to it all kind of spooks me a bit. That's all I'm trying to say. And I have a feeling I'm gonna get plenty more spooks before I know it. Anyway, this has gone on for over a couple hours now, so I'm gonna go ahead and end things here. My interest is certainly peaked now, that's for sure. I definitely kind of want to know what the hell is going through Chisato's head, and how exactly I factor into it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of the Higurashi and the Cry console arcs. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.